Hello and welcome. This is episode 2 of an Average Knitter podcast, although it feels like episode 12 because this is the third time I've tried recording this today. It has been a day. You know those days where you're just go, and working really hard at work and lots of things to think about. And then I started recording and then my kids came home and then I ran out of memory and anyways, here we are. Attempt number 3. My name is Kayla. I'm coming to you from southern Wisconsin in the United States. It is a cold, blustery, gray day. It was sunny when I first started recording, like a long time ago, and now it's gray. That's okay. I live here with my husband and 2 kids, and I'm a part-time teacher. If you hear any noises in the background, it's my kids. They're having a little bit of playtime and snack time right now. In this episode, we are focusing on shawls, specifically Andrea Mowry's Find Your Fade shawl. I am so excited to share this project with you and talk about it. I love it. I love it so much. I loved the process, everything about it. Again, I know I'm late to the game. I know so many of you know who Andrea Mowry is, and maybe you've made this, but I hadn't, and I love it. And again, like I explained in episode 1, when I am thinking about making a project, I love to search hashtags or look for, the specific projects that people have made. And so one of my hopes in creating this podcast is that other people like myself who are searching for something topically will be able to find what they need. And someone who's thinking about making the Find Your Fade shawl will find this episode and find this information and say, wow, that's just what I needed to make up my mind. I also have a couple of other shawls, and a hair tie to share with you, and then a sneak peek at what I've been working on lately. So if you watched episode 1, you heard me share how much I love everything that I've seen and done of Andrea Mowry's. And that was my first introduction to the fade technique in knitting. I made my children each a pint-sized sew faded sweater. Really enjoyed that experience. Loved the process of working with fingering weight yarn, how many different colors and varieties and styles are available. So after I finished those projects, I really wanted to make something faded for myself and couldn't make up my mind. Spent so much time on Ravelry, looking on Instagram. What are other people making? What kind of yarns did they enjoy using? I thought about obviously making a sew faded sweater for myself and was a little bit intimidated by how long it might take. When you knit with fingering weight yarn, it can take a while, especially if you are like me where you're just knitting, a little bit here and there, maybe at night while you're watching a TV show or a movie or just, little snippets of time. This isn't my job. I don't do it all day. It takes me a while. So decided against the sew faded sweater for now, though I think someday I definitely will, and instead chose the sew faded shawl, which I ended up taking a while because it's fingering weight yarn and it's so big, but loved the process. Love. I don't have any other shawls. I'm a scarf person, wear lots of scarves. I think that comes from being a teen in the late 90s and then was a college student in the early 2000s. Scarves were the thing, especially infinity scarves, and you wrap them around and they went with every outfit. So this is my first shawl. I love having it. It is so comfy and cozy, especially on a gray, blustery day like today. I also enjoy keeping it on the couch and wrapping up with it at night. Sometimes you get chilly and you want to cover up the top of you. Like we keep blankets in our living room, but I don't always want to put a giant blanket over myself. You can kind of see all the colors here. So decided I was going to make the Find Your Fade shawl. I had seen several of my favorite vloggers talk about Madeline Tosh yarn and had noticed that several Andrea Mowry patterns were designed with Madeline Tosh yarn in mind. So looked at Madeline Tosh yarn online and fell in love with the colorway Barbara Deserved Better. Side note, who is Barbara and what is going on? What happened to her that we need to say Barbara deserved better? Like I'm kind of worried about Barbara. So if you know Barbara's story, please let me know. I hope she's okay. Barbara Deserved Better is a warm, almost neon pink. Yeah, that's showing up pretty pretty true, a little bit light. You can see that there's pink. There's also some more kind of whitish, lighter parts, and then there's just these little pops of, it's like a black, brown, dark purple, and red all mixed together. There's a tiny, can you see it? There's a tiny blue spot right there. There's a nice bright, almost neon orange. Yeah, there it is. A nice bright orange spot right there. This is what I have left of Barbara Deserved Better. So I looked online, fell in love with this color, and then tried to find it at a local yarn shop. And I ended up driving to Verona, Wisconsin, which is near Madison. Went to the Sow's Ear. It was my first time there. I so enjoyed my time there. Made a day of it. My husband planned things to do at home with the girls. I took my time, drove there. It's a cafe and coffee shop as well as a yarn shop. So got something to eat, got some delicious coffee, and just really spent my time strolling the store. So I found this first. They only had it in, I'm checking my notes, they only had it available in Madeline Tosh Merino Light, which is a single ply, a very soft, but a little bit rustic feeling single ply. I've never worked with single ply before. It totally worked. It's in a shawl. So you can see, like, right here. Here it is. This is the Barbara Deserved Better part. It worked great. Like, I didn't even think about it being single ply until I was using all these other yarns and went, whoa, none of these are single ply. It worked great. Loved this, grabbed it right away, and then, I must have spent an hour wandering around and kind of holding things up, and an employee found me and said, tell me about the project you're working on. What are you looking for? Every local yarn shop employee that I've ever talked to has been so kind and so helpful. This employee offered a spare table in a back room and said, why don't you go ahead and just start grabbing yarn, spread it out, kind of organize it, arrange it, try different colors next to other colors. I really appreciate that attention. I felt so special. It made for an extra positive, like it was already a positive experience, but made for an extra positive experience. So we have Barbara Deserved Better. I was also very drawn to, this is Toasted Sugar. How lovely is it? It's a peach, again, a warm, a little bit muted peach. You can see those same flecks of like a brownish black with a tiny bit of purple. There's some green flecks, there's some yellow. So Toasted Sugar is right here. Again, I love it. I think it's just gorgeous. This is Madeline Tosh as well, but Tosh sock. So it is I think it's a 2-ply, very soft, super soft. Love, 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 love this. So I had these two. I picked out a couple others, some more neutral, like creamy grayish browns that I ended up not using. Also found this one at the Sow's Ear, and I'm going to pull up the name. This is a Malabrigo yarn sock in 351 Gobber, which makes me think of a turkey, like gobbler. I don't know why it's called Gobber, or an Everlasting Gobstopper from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Again, this is a warm, a little bit muted. It's brown. Like, I look at it and I think brown, but you can tell there's, again, some kind of peachy pink. There's a tiny smidge of purple and blue. We've got tan and then leaning to gray in some spots. It's just, again, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. So these are the three that aren't those fun together? Like, I would eat this. It looks like, hey girls. They're so sweet. They're trying to sneak upstairs quietly so they don't disrupt the video. Thank you, girls. I really appreciate that. I feel like I could eat these. Like, don't these look yummy? Like ice cream. Let me show you where Gobber is. So Gobber is what I started the shawl with. And again, oh, I just love it. I just love it. So had these three. These are expensive. For me and my budget and my taste, I thought these were expensive. So I knew I felt like I couldn't keep buying more Malabrigo or more Madeline Tosh for this shawl, even though I wanted to. So what to do next? I followed the advice of one of my favorite textile vloggers, Stacy Elstone from Stress Knits Yarn. She has talked quite a bit about how much she's enjoyed ordering things from Knit Picks yarn online. So I spent a lot of time looking at Knit Picks. So I had these at home, had these, laying out on the living room floor. Knit Picks Hawthorne is a fingering weight, 2-ply. I think it's 2-ply. This is the color Daphne. See if you can see, it's getting blown out right now. There we go. It's a warm pink, almost peach, a little bit more pink than peach, and then with some white as well. Soft, not as soft as these, but totally soft enough and a really good price point. I felt like this was oh, girls, look out the window. There's 2 huge, they almost look like flamingos. They're not flamingos. I think they're cranes, but they're huge. Maybe they're herons. They're kind of brownish, orangish. They're so big. Super cool. Okay, let's keep going. I felt like this was the clincher. Like this tied it all together. So you can see in the shawl, we started with the Malabrigo Gobber. This is Malabrigo yarn sock, by the way. So we started with Gobber, and then we went to Madeline Tosh Toasted Sugar. And then right here is where we put the Knit Picks Hawthorne in Daphne. And then my favorite and the biggest section, you can see this strong pink, is Barbara. Barbara Deserved Better. So a mix of superwash and non-superwash, a mix of multi-ply and single-ply. The pattern, I don't remember, you'd have to look, but the original pattern I think called for 5 or 6 colors and told you where to do the fades. I wanted to try to do just 4 colors, particularly because I knew I wanted to use lots and lots of Barbara Deserved Better. If you look at what I have left, I could have used more of the brown and more of the orange, but I felt like as I started, like this was plenty of brown, and I love how it transitioned into the peach. I didn't want to do any more. So I'm knitting, and I'm almost at the end. And I'm thinking, I have been knitting with Barbara Deserved Better for forever. And I think we just need a little something else. If you look at Andrea Mowry's pictures, she has this strong, dark ruby color at the very edge of hers, and it's just stunning. And the longer I knit, the more I thought, I don't think I can get away with 4 colors. I think I personally want to add a 5th. So I had this much, this much done, and went to another local yarn shop, the Niche in Delafield, Wisconsin, and held up my project and said, I need the last color. And right away the employee said, that's Find Your Fade. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Oh, I love those colors. So we both kind of roamed around the store looking for something that would be just right, something that would fit the warm tones that we're going for. This is another Malabrigo yarn sock color. It is 850 Archangel. And when I got home, I realized I had it in worsted. So no wonder I was drawn to it, because I had used it before. I used it for a pair of leg warmers, I think, that I gifted to someone. It's Malabrigo, so it's soft. It's just fabulous. So here we go. Let's see if I can do this in order. Brown, peach, the Daphne from Knit Picks will go like this. Barbara Deserved Better, and then the Malabrigo in Archangel. I love it. I love how this turned out. I feel like this is that strong, bold statement that you need at the end. I wasn't quite sure I wanted it, but I wanted it. This again is a warm, it's tons of shades. It's not just one shade. Warm, there's orange, there's maroon, there's purple, there's a little bit of kind of a greeny brown sage. Again, I just love it. And now I have it in fingering and worsted. Because I did my own thing, I did the fades in totally different spots than was suggested in the pattern. That's okay, not a big deal. I would recommend, if you're trying to do your own thing, to keep the fades in the garter stitch part, because I tried early on somewhere, I tried a fade in the lace work and it just didn't offer the same effect. When I got to the end, you can see right, there's like one row of lace work in Barbara Deserved Better before we switch over totally to the Malabrigo. So I felt like that was an okay compromise, but I really preferred keeping the fades in the garter stitch section. Also, I think somehow I didn't make it backwards, but I think somehow I got the right and wrong side flipped, which doesn't matter. No one knows and no one cares except for me. But when I hold it up and I look at the shape, this, you know, kind of rib down the center was supposed to be on the other side for the triangle. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know how I did it though. Like, it bothers me because I don't know how I did it. I'm really curious how I made the rib on the other side, how I confused the right and wrong side, but it doesn't matter. I made it my right side and my wrong side, and that's fine. So I just love this. I love this. I love this pop of color at the end because I can keep it out, particularly if I'm wearing something that it really coordinates with, like this today, or I can tuck it away. I wore this to school today because it was so cold, and I like to keep it on the back of my chair, and after everyone has left my room and I'm eating lunch, it gets chilly and it's nice to kind of wrap it around and cover up. I really love it. I love having these leftovers too. So fun. So if you are thinking about making Find Your Fade, I hope this is helpful to you. One of my favorite parts was just choosing the colors and arranging them and thinking about them. And again, a fade project keeps me motivated. Like, I just want to keep going so I can move into the next color. I just love that. I just love that. I would be curious to know if you have made this. The animals are like doing a dance. They're like jumping up and down and waving their wings, but not flying. It's so interesting. I'm gonna have to look up what they are after this. What was I saying? I got distracted. I got distracted by the birds. Something I loved about this, I'm gonna have to pause so I can get my thought back. Okay, it took me a while, but I remembered. I did not block this. I finished it when it was very cold outside, and I just wanted to put it on and start wearing it. So I never blocked it. I know if I blocked it, the lace would look a little bit different, and I have a few funny edges that could be, kind of smoothed out. But I also don't want to take the time to block something this big when I can just keep wearing it and being cozy and comfortable. I would be curious to, there's a third one! There's a third bird. Okay, anyways, I would be curious to know if you have made something this big, or if you have made this particular shawl or a different shawl that was this large. Did you block it? Did you block it right away? Why did you block it? What positives did you notice? I know someday I'll wash it. Like, for sure I'll have to wash it. And then I'll block it afterwards. But for now, they're flying. Oh, nope, they're back down on the ground. Maybe they're fighting. I don't know. Okay, this has become the bird episode, shawls and birds. Okay, so I finished the Find Your Fade shawl, and my oldest said, "Oh, Mom, I love it. Oh, I really want one." And she has a couple of scarves that kind of, they did the job for a while, but she really wanted one. And after finishing this project, I really did not want to make another one for a while. I loved it. I love fingering weight yarn, but it took a long time. And I was thinking, if only I could make or design or find a pattern for a worsted weight child size shawl that would go so much faster. I know I could commit to that and get it done quickly, because by this point, you know, I think maybe it was February. We're getting close to March. Like, the weather's going to warm up soon. Again, was listening to Stacey Elstone's Stress Knits podcast on YouTube, and she mentioned very quickly making a Sophie shawl for her child. And I went, a child-size shawl. And she mentioned something about how it came in different sizes. So I had heard of the Sophie scarf. I knew it was something that was very popular right now, but I hadn't really looked into it because I was loving the shawl and spending a lot of time on the shawl and with the shawl. So I quick went to Ravelry and typed in Sophie shawl. And I bought it immediately, went and grabbed yarn out of my yarn basket and started knitting and finished listening to Stacey's podcast like that. And it was such a fast knit. So this is for my oldest. And it is just perfect. This was a Lion brand acrylic, super soft acrylic, from like one of those huge, what's it called? Like Super Saver, Heart Jumbo Heart. One of those really, really big skeins of yarn that I had gotten years ago to make an Elsa wig for her Elsa Halloween costume. Elsa from Frozen. Do you see how it's the right color? Snow glows white on the mountain tonight. Except she has like the braid that comes. Snow glows white on... Anyways, you get the idea. But we had lots of yarn left over. So grabbed this and I said, honey, what do you think about this? She goes, oh, it's so soft. Yes. So made this. It is very long. Oh, this is our blueberry stain. It's very long, which is perfect for wrapping around. And she pretends to be very fancy in it and has worn it to school many, many times. I love how it has this gradual point in the middle. The great thing about the Sophie shawl is that I found it easy to quickly memorize. I love, 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 love the I-cord edging. It knits up quickly. It's worsted weight and bigger needles. Your gauge doesn't matter so much. Like I kind of made a swatch and then I was like, what's the point? There was no point. And I just knit until, so I would kind of hold it up to her every so often, and when we got to what I thought was a good midway point and we held it up to the middle of her back and then wrapped it around, and she said, yeah, I think this is long enough, Mom. Then we started decreasing and making the other side. So I feel like with very little expertise or special knowledge, I was able to make the pattern personal for my child and make it just the right size, and it was such a fun, fast knit. So then my younger child saw my older child with this shawl and how much she loved it. She said, Mom, I think I want one too. Knowing that it was such a fast knit, I said, absolutely. We were going to, I think, Walmart that day, and she didn't want white, and I didn't have enough white left anyways. So I said, what do you want? Oh my goodness, are you ready for this? Look at this. Look at this. So this was another Lion brand special. It turned out so fun. Another Lion brand special, and it was like a, it was kind of the shape of yarn, and you could see that it had lots of colors, and she said, Mom, it's mermaid colors. That's the one I want. And she was really, really excited about the pinks. I wasn't sure how the colors were going to go, and I wanted to make sure we had pink. And I think when I took the wrapper off, the first color was maybe like this purple or the green. And so I started winding, and then when I got to pink, I stopped and cut it and set that yarn aside so that I could start the shawl with pink, which worked out really well. So we have the light pink, moving into the darker pink, the violet, the purple. I think it's so fun. All these colors, and then at the very, very tip we have just that little bit of this light kind of aquamarine or teal color. Love, love, love it. Because I had had such a positive experience with this and knew how the pattern went and what it needed, I was able to make this one even a little bit smaller. So again, you start knitting here, you knit, 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 and then measured it kind of against the middle of her back, and she said, yeah, I like that size, and then started decreasing for for this side. Again, I did not block these because my kids wanted to wear them right away, and it was such a gratifying feeling to put the shawl on, and they got to start wearing it. I want to say, if you are making the Sophie shawl or thinking about it, it is fun, it is fast. I would love to try this in other colors. This part really freaked me out at first. I had a hard time with this. I started and I followed the instructions exactly, and it wasn't looking right. I want to say, keep going. I was searching for tutorials and found, I think, a YouTube video, and someone said just that. They said it looks funny at first, but keep going. And so I think it took this much knitting before the I-cord edging looked like it was supposed to. Before, it was all like not on the right side, and I couldn't figure out if I was doing it right or not. Give yourself this much space, this much time before you decide if it's working or not, because after I got this far, it was working and it looked just right. And I felt the same way when I started the second one. So again, give yourself time. But I would really recommend this if you are looking for a shawl to make for someone smaller in your life. It is fast, it is soft, it is comfy, and this didn't even use the whole skein. So we've still got some fun mermaid yarn left. This has been so fun. Thank you for spending time with me. It is so, oh, the sun's coming out. It is so enjoyable to share these things that are so special to me. I don't know if I'll ever get tired of talking about Andrea Mowry and the fade technique. So if you get tired of me, just take a break, but I'm really loving it. Thank you. I want to give you a sneak peek of what I have been working on. And I think my next episode, episode 3, will be all about this sweater, and maybe my first sweater. Maybe we'll make it like a two sweater episode. But I just added the sleeves a couple days ago. So we're right about here. I'm so excited about this. It's so fun. So fun. I don't want to tell you anymore because I want to wait until the next episode to share all about it. But this is a little sneak peek. I'm so excited. It's going so well. Thank you so much for spending time with me. This was so much fun. Thank you for joining An Average Knitter. And I can't wait to see you again. Thank you.